Lads, we're back.
We are. Daniel?
Ooh.
But there's a problem.
We have many
For
problems.
some reason, I don't know. For some reason,
Your camera looks quite
I'm not
off.
in HD.
It's very, it is. You look like a 2007 Skype call.
It's like pre-pandemic stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. Few things what a day today, right? Like, how
Has
was
it
your
been
day,
wild?
guys?
Yeah, it's fine.
It was a busy day. A lot of interviews.
I feel like it
snowing.
would be. I feel like it would be unfair to start the show because I think the last time we recorded, the game hadn't come out yet, or you hadn't gotten it yet, or you just started. How is the game?
I think I had started playing it. That would have maybe a day. Right. I've now completed Legends Arceus, the main story.
How long is that?
I don't want to say how long.
Okay.
It's more. I'm closing in on 40 hours of game.
Oh wow!
It is sensational. I'm nearly done the post game. I'm basically now completing the Pokedex. It's incredible. It is such a breath of fresh air for Pokemon. 10 out of 10 recommend it. It's instantly in my top 3 favorite Pokemon games. Maybe
That's
my
awesome.
favorite of all time.
What about games all time?
It's up
Top
there.
3? It's up there.
It's up there?
It's in my top 3, which is sort of going like Dragon Age Origins. Used to be Pokemon Platinum, that may be challenged, and like Halo 3. That's sort of where Legends Arceus has put itself in. It's good. It's really, really good. I'm enjoying it a lot. Going back to like, obviously I'd gotten ahead of my work for school for the week.
Yeah.
And now today was a class where I was doing stuff again. I'm like, I was reading some story as it's an English class. I just kind of stopped. I'm like, man, I wish I was playing Pokemon right now.
Are you back in person for this one?
No, but this class especially, I think it's like the 16th or whatever. 2 Wednesdays from now is my first in class for it. So nearly everything else is going to be online. It's just this one class, which is very annoying.
How about you, Alex?
I have one class that is in person, but it doesn't start until the end of the month. I'm not entirely sure of this rolling start that Ryerson decided on.
You know what's really annoying is this one class until we go back in a few weeks, it's asynchronous. And what doesn't help is when it's like, here's a 20-minute video of this lecture, and it's someone else, like it's just video. It's not even like you've clearly done this before, but it's really actually from the professor is a 20-minute video. I hate it so much. I hate it so. Asynchronous is just the worst thing that's ever happened to mankind. I feel like I've learned nothing.
We had a class that was Daniel, I don't think you did, but Adam and I we had a class that was asynchronous.
Was the ethical why journalism matters?
Yeah.
Man, I hated that class so much.
That really should have been whatever. It's besides
At the
point.
movies.
Oh, Ivor Shapiro. Yes, I've watched those ones. Yeah.
Oh,
It's
they're
so
awful. They're so bad.
It's cringy sometimes.
It's crazy. I watched a whole series before I actually met the guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh my.
No, remember we met him briefly in first year.
Did we?
He came for a lecture once.
Oh,
Right.
And then I remember
maybe.
for a scavenger hunt, we had to go find one of his books at the school library, Daniel. Remember that?
Man.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. Wow.
Yep.
That
Yep.
felt like 8 years ago.
It did. I remember the friends I made in that first lab. Remember, that's when I met Mike, and I wasn't friends with him for a couple of years afterwards. But yeah, a long time.
And now
ago,
look
long
at
time
us.
ago. And now he tries to get Alex off the podcast so we can take a spot. Anyway,
I'm still here. I'm still here.
you are. You know who's not around in his profession anymore, though?
Who's that?
Tom Brady. We're opening with
Oh.
football in the hockey podcast. The GOAT's retired, lads. It's really funny. So Adam Schefter, for those of you who don't know, the Elliot Friedman of football, I believe, was basically reporting out Brady's done. And then there was this leak that all of a sudden came out of it. No, he's talking to the owner of the Bucks. He hasn't made the decision yet. All it really was, and I had watched Get Up and then First Take for ESPN, where in both segments, Adam Schefter said, listen, he's retiring. He just wants to do it on his own terms. So basically, I think Adam Schefter had it. Tom Brady didn't like it and said, no. We're going to wait a few days here. But,
I loved on Saturday where I think it was Fox. I can't remember, but they interviewed Tom Brady's dad. He's like, he's not officially retired yet. Don't worry.
But don't worry, he'll retire soon.
Just give it a minute.
Like, honestly, yeah, literally give him a minute. But it's
like-
it's insane.
I'd like to say, we've mentioned before, Montreal Gazette with the amazing headline that it is pretty ironic, but it is true that it is truly the end of an era. Because if you guys remember, Tom Brady was drafted out of high school by the Montreal Expos
Right.
and as a catcher. And he was technically their last, he didn't sign with them, but he was technically their last active draft pick. So when he retired, that's officially the end. There's no more Expos.
So forget about the legacy in football, the championship rings, the status as probably the greatest football player of all time. The Expos. That's what
Montreal
we're
Expos.
I'm trying to pull it up here. I don't know if you saw, there was a news station out of New York who tweeted about it and said the only time he lost in the Super Bowl was to a team in New York. Even I'm like, cool. Like, of course you did.
Wasn't it this year's the first time in like a decade it's not been him or Aaron Rodgers, at least to the Final Four? We know that.
Yeah.
Super Bowl picks, Bengals or LA? LA Rams?
Yes.
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
Rams.
I'm going Bengals, obviously. I've been going with them all playoffs. So.
All right. I'm going to go with the LA Rams
How dare you.
because there's another baseball connection here.
Okay.
Okay.
So Matt Stafford, their quarterback,
Yeah, decent player, I heard.
is high school friends with one of my favorite baseball players, Clayton Kershaw. So in high school, when Matt Stafford was on the baseball team, he was Kershaw's catcher.
Yeah, fair enough. Alex, tiebreaker.
I will go with the Cincinnati Bengals.
Oh,
I look
why?
at, I'll explain why. I look at, not that I know football well, but I look at Joe Burrow.
And that's it.
And I go, that guy does not care about anything at all. Like, in a good way. You know how there's sometimes people that just don't care about anything at all.
He
that's what-
oozes BDE.
Yes,
He really does.
Yes, he does. Absolutely.
Yeah,
That's
so
why I'm picking them.
Yeah, Tom Brady, congrats. Great career.
Mhm.
Obviously. Like legit, it's I can't imagine what it's like to someone who has been a football fan for more than 2 minutes like myself, but you always have to respect when one of the greats go. You know, it's going to be like, what are we going to do when Sidney Crosby retires? I don't think the NHL knows what it's going to do when Sidney Crosby retires. But man, just respect to that guy. What an athlete.
I'd
Put
like
up
to
your
say
chips.
one thing with him is just how inspirational he's kind of been. 199th overall in the sixth round, last pick of the sixth round, and became quite possibly the best quarterback ever.
This is true. Elliot Friedman, not quite there yet. Apparently, 32 thoughts. Gave him the laugh. I always like when what Elliot does with the 30-second thought. He's done it like he gave credit to Bob McKenzie when he retired. Did that. He always has that little nugget in Thought 32, and he brought up Tom Brady. So I think PK put up a picture with him. PK is PK's a big dude, and Brady next to him is like, oh man, he's that
Huge.
tall dude, big dude,
Yeah.
big arm, and decent player. So congrats on the career. Also, we should forgetting Ben Roethlisberger too. Woo, yeah, but Tom Brady. Yeah.
Did he retire too?
He did, yes, he did.
Oh, wow.
And Stephen A. Smith was like, thank goodness. He should have done it 2 years ago.
Oh my God.
But yeah, and Stephen A. Smith is a Steelers fan, which is weird because he gives people crap about abandoning the Knicks, but like, why are you not a Giants fan
Yeah, or a Jets fan.
or a Jet? Yeah.
Hey, well,
Like me acting like I know what that means.
I don't want Donald to get upset as a Jets fan.
Is he a Jets fan?
Is he a Jets fan?
Yes, he is.
Well, we're not talking about the Winnipeg Jets today. But we will later because they're in a bit of free fall. But we're going to talk about first Team Canada. They've released their leadership. Why do they say it like that? We know who the captains and the alternates are.
Yeah.
One alternate being David Desharnais, because that's cool. And the captain, the worst kept secret in hockey, Eric Stahl. So that's pretty hype.
Redemption.
Is it redemption?
It is this position, and the fact that he's the captain is great because I remember, guys, I told you about the Cheerios box
Yeah.
Yes.
that he was added onto it for prior 2014 for the Olympics. They already jumped the gun and put him on the box, and he didn't make the final cut.
Mhm.
So I love it. I love Eric Stahl. I have a great story of it as well too. when my dad was downtown, he got interviewed by the Toronto Star, and it was when Eric Stahl was going around with the gold medal. And then my dad got to meet him, and apparently he was a really nice guy. He let my dad hold the medal, so I have a special place in my heart for Eric Stahl.
Same, man. Same. He's just a good player. And maybe that'll help his year, losing in the cup final. But then if he can get a gold medal, then we'll see. We will see. Yeah. Also, shout out to Marie-Philippe Poulin being one of the torchbearers. That's really cool.
Yeah, awesome.
Always cool to see. I think it's tonight, isn't it? Or tomorrow? With the time change, I'm not entirely sure.
Couldn't tell you.
Well, can I ask you a question? I went to go look. David Desharnais is under contract this year, I believe, with in Switzerland. But will he be an LA King next year?
Oh, because of Marc Bergevin?
Yeah.
Man, did he love David Desharnais? Wherever Michel Therrien ends up too, it's going to be like, we got to get him.
That guy's also a redemption story too.
Doesn't Michel Therrien have a job?
No, he got fired from Philly, remember?
Oh, yes.
Well, yeah.
What are you saying, Daniel?
I forgot.
Oh, Desharnais is also a kind of a redemption story too. I remember he wasn't drafted. He was 5'7", and then I know circumstances, but he worked his way up to being a top line center for the Habs for a bit.
Which is
when I looked back on the 2010 conference finals team, I'm like, oh yeah, he was their top line center.
He would have been not top line, but he would have been around for 2014 as well. It was weird, man. He was one of the best players that Max Pacioretty ever had as a line mate, which is a shame to hear. There's like 1 year, I think he had like 60 points, and you're like, wow. And then he was a Ranger for a bit, and that was weird. And then he disappeared into Switzerland or whatever. So that's what happens. That is what happens. Nazem Kadri, we know from a few weeks ago that he switched agents to Darren Ferris. On Insider Trading, Pierre LeBrun has basically made it clear that looking at the book of Darren Ferris, it's you bring your client to the market, the open market, to see what there's going to be. And apparently that is the plan for Nazem Kadri. It's really funny that a couple weeks ago, like Alex jokingly said, like, he can end up in Philly. And now we know what's going on with Philly. And open checkbook and all that. Man, does it not feel like he's going to Philly?
And it would fit their aura, right? Like, what the Philadelphia Flyers are, what, Bobby Clark comes out and speaks and stuff like that. Like, he fits the way that you imagine they would play in a perfect world.
How their identity should be. I don't know if in our lifetime we've properly seen what the Flyers are supposed to be, aka people are like Broad Street Bullies. I'm like, yeah, but like, what is the 2022 version of that? Like, have you ever been scared of playing the Flyers? Maybe Wayne Simmons, maybe, but no, I wouldn't be afraid of the Flyers. You should be afraid of the Flyers, and Kadri really helped that.
For me, I think just ever since I became a hockey fan, for me, the Flyers have been the team where they're inside on everything and they always just wanted to spend money. Like, they always just wanted to get the guy. They wanted to make these trades, and they never really had, like what you said, like that true identity of, okay, this is what we are, and then we're going to add guys to it each time, and we're just going to roll with it and contend. I think every time they would have the certain guys like a Claude Giroux or Sean Couturier, or even looking back, they had a Jeff Carter or Mike Richards. And so, but they just kept adding a bunch of high-priced guys, never really knowing what the identity is.
It's this best player, I want him. Yeah, they've always kind of been like, they're there with like Dallas, where it's like in the background. Yeah, Philly are interested, but they've never really gotten the guy in. If you think about it, I'm trying to think, who are some of their really homegrown, like if we're looking at defensemen, Yandel they brought in, Salina they brought in, Provorov was one of their guys, Hart's one of their guys, Voracek they acquired, Giroux and obviously Couturier are their own guys, but like, do we really know the Flyers? Is maybe in Hextall that started to happen, but like what's happened since, like, are the Flyers really big on developing from within?
Yep. Travis Konecny, Oscar Lindbaum.
I think they haven't had that perennial guy since they brought in essentially Claude, like since they've developed Claude Giroux and Sean Couturier.
And Giroux just hasn't been the same the past couple of years.
Right.
Probably like since that wrist injury, right? And Couturier is good. It's just, he's he's fine. He's a good player. He's a star.
Yeah.
And that, but like, and even like Konechny and that, was it Konechny that they said at the end of last year we could have traded you? Or am I thinking of? Or is that?
Yeah, no,
was it?
He's been. It feels like this Travis Konechny has been in trade rumors for a few years now. Like, it's just why? Like, why is that a guy you'd want to trade? To me, it doesn't make sense to me.
Such a weird.
Now I remember the one other defenseman they developed was Travis Sanheim.
Yes. No, and then it's like just who else has been, I guess maybe like did they draft Simmons?
Wayne Simmons?
Yeah.
No, he was drafted by LA. He was in the Mike Richards trade.
That's why.
With Braden Shen.
Okay then. Yes, and even that, and like, and Wayne Simmons was the guy you could imagine that a Flyer would be. So maybe Kadri's that first step. And even if you're overpaying him, we talked about last episode, he's behind McKinnon now in Colorado. If he goes to Philly, he's behind Couturier. And that can be really, really good. We'll see who else are, in a couple months, because talking about free agency, man, there's still some hockey to be played. And they continue to do well, Colorado, by the way. They did lose last night, though. Their home winning streak came to an end. I was live tweeting it to the guys. You didn't respond to me, though.
So I saw it this morning. I was sleeping. I was sleeping. I saw it this morning. I wasn't sure what to respond to.
So here's what happened for those of you who don't know. I think it was late Lawson Krause had tied the game. Somehow, Arizona, they kept in it. They've been winning games lately. It's huge for the last place. You'll have to see it. Anyway, so that happens, right? And it goes to overtime, and eventually, I forget who took it. But one of the Avalanche took a penalty, but then they kill it off. It's fantastic. You love to see it. They go to the shootout, and the only person who scored in the shootout was Alex Galchenyuk. So Alex Galchenyuk has brought down the Colorado Avalanche. Is mighty. The first time since that famous Detroit team that fizzled out in the playoffs. One of the best winning streaks in home we've seen in forever. But now it becomes the last time they lost in regulation at home.
Oh,
but you could. You could kind of see afterwards on the bench, like that hit them, that loss.
Yeah.
Well, when you win that many games in a row, there's this confidence, and it keeps building and building and building, and to lose that first game, I think does become demoralizing a little bit. And it's not complacency that gets in the way, but I think you just get demoralized. But I think with the group that they have there, I believe they can bounce back. Like, I don't think that one loss should absolutely spiral them, even though, their body language was clearly upset. Like, you just lost a huge home win streak.
Yeah, and also against Arizona of all teams, I think for me, it was just a shock. And then it's just, okay, well, this is over and everything. But like, just to confirm, Darcy Kemper, was he in net?
He was, yeah.
Okay, so it was Arizona's revenge against Darcy Kemper. So that explains it.
Yeah, they were having some close games there. There were obviously always comebacks, except ignore the Buffalo game because that's Buffalo. But you know what? They came close against Montreal, sort of snapping it. They went to overtime against the Bruins. I don't think there were any games they didn't deserve to they deserved to lose, because you have to be careful when you're a team. It's when you start to win games you shouldn't win. I don't think they were getting to that point. Like, obviously we're not saying that their season is done, because I don't know. They don't play again until the 10th, and that's it's against Tampa Bay.
That's a game.
That's a huge sort of turning point that they're going to be. It's important to see what Colorado are like post this, because I don't think they're going to be very happy that they just lost to a team that has 11 wins on the year, and they're going to be stewing over it on the break. I don't know how many of them are going to be too upset. They're probably going to be on the beach already, sort of laughing it up. But I'm sure the coaching staff, once they get back, are going to say, "Listen, we got to get going here, boys." And I mean, what a first game back being Tampa Bay. Yeah, like you say, Alex, that is. Excuse me, must watch. Then they have a home and home with Dallas. That's weird. Vegas on the 16th. So they've got some good games coming up. Then on the 16th and 26th against Vegas. Those will be pretty fun.
Sorry, if the Coyotes beat the Lightning, are they the giant killers of the season?
If that happens, like at some point,
yeah, the Leafs, the Avs, and then the Lightning.
Yeah.
Sure.
I'm actually curious as to see who they've beaten over their 11 games. I'm going to pull up their schedule real quick.
Colorado. I mean, Arizona?
Yeah.
Go ahead. So I just want to do some math. So we can do 32 plus 8 plus 4. Okay, so 44 games. So that means that 37 more games for the Avalanche, right? So we just do some math. So they have 74 points on the table. Divide that by 2. So let's say they go 500 for the rest of the year. Then they get another 37 points, which we add that to their current, I think that's 68 points they have there. Excuse the math. If they go 500 for the rest of the year, they would still finish with 105 points. They're not going to finish 500.
No,
They're going to
no.
do so much better. But just to give you a sort of reference on how good, So Nashville, who are second place, they have 6 game in hands over Minnesota. Minnesota has 10 regulation losses. Predators have 14. Colorado have 8 in 44 games played.
Wow.
How good they've been. The Panthers and Lightning and Toronto are all at 10. My goodness, how close is that? Carolina are at 9. Oh my goodness, they're not good. But
So
they're good.
sorry. Yeah, they're good. These are the teams the Coyotes have beat: Colorado,
Nice.
New Jersey, Montreal, Toronto, Chicago,
Ooh.
Anaheim,
Hey.
LA, Detroit, and St. Louis and Seattle.
That's a mixed bag.
What a mixed bag of teams to beat, man.
I mean, again, they're getting hot at the right time. You love to see it for the Habs. I'm happy to see that. I'm really happy to see that.
You're right, Daniel, though. If they beat the Lightning and like Vegas and maybe Carolina, if they play them again, they're giant killers.
My mic has decided to stop working.
What a night, guys.
No, it
What a
has.
night.
It has. It has.
It's working again.
There we
love
go.
to see it. I had technical difficulties. You hate to see it. You hate to see it. Okay, so let's talk about something here.
Sure.
The New Jersey Devils
Oh.
had a very bad jersey early in the year, as we know. That being their jersey that was black and just had the word jersey on it. So what they did is it's around the time of Chinese New Year, as we know. So they have this jersey that's sort of styled over, I think they're called, there's like lucky red envelopes. I remember I went to school in elementary school, this kid named Brandon Kwan. And I remember Chinese New Year's, he'd give out these little envelopes and they have like a quarter in something, right? It's part of Chinese New Year. So what they've done is off these red envelopes, the Devils have designed these jerseys. They've actually brought in an artist. And Alex, do you have it up? Because remember you sent it to us.
I can.
It's
pull
in
it
our
up.
Twitter, yeah.
I can pull it
so
up. Yeah,
they
I
bring
have it.
in, I believe she's actually a Chinese artist to actually design these jerseys. Now, see, the reason I wanted to bring this up is because a lot of people saw this and the way that the Devils had sort of hung it. So it's the jersey that's red. There's a sort of like symbol that I don't know how to quite describe it, but it's sort of it's like a a Chinese style. And then there's the Devils logo, the NJ, that's in black. So, and the way they kind of put this picture up, and it was all like the jerseys hanging, but their sleeves were sort of tucked behind. So they just looked like banners. And they resembled Nazi banners. And everyone, I saw people saying this was cultural. Hold on, what's the term? Let me find it quickly.
Appropriation.
Yes, they said it was cultural appropriation. What are you thinking,
What?
or miss? You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
They were basically saying like, what do you do? Oh, here it is. Okay,
No, it's not cultural appropriation. That's not the right word.
So cultural appropriation, I think, is the proper term. Anyway,
Did you just say that?
Appropriation. That's what I said.
Yeah, okay.
anyway, you know what I'm trying to say, right? Is
I
everyone
think
was
so.
like, you made a jersey that looks like a Nazi flag. When it's so much to the, because what it basically looks like is, and I don't know, Alex, can you like throw a picture of it when we're in like the editing so people can see it?
Yeah.
It's
I can
not
share it.
like it's not that, it's not a swastika, but it's what it kind of looks like is because of the white and that,
Yeah,
and the
I'll
point
share it.
of the
I'll
Devil's
share it,
logo.
Adam.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, it doesn't look great. Okay,
No,
yeah.
from
So, can you
afar,
see-
like, yeah, I see
You
it.
see my screen? That's there.
Um,
Let me scroll down.
For me, it looks like, okay, I get what they're doing when you look close up, right? You look close up to it, but when you sent the picture, Adam, of them lined up in the locker room, that's when I'm like, that doesn't look good.
This post, you guys see this?
Yeah.
Is this the one you're talking about, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
So especially the one on the bottom right, you can find this on
This
New
one?
Jersey stuff. We're looking at the tweet that they said, like, look at the Wildcats wearing it. Listen, here's the thing is this isn't, if you look at it and you compare it to what the inspiration is, it's not. Like, I think people need to just sort of, I saw people saying they're reaching. I get where people are looking at here, but this is based on what the source material was. I think it's bang on what it is. This isn't a pure white circle that it's on, and it's their logo. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think what they did differently, if you guys remember when they did the jersey, they had someone explain it, but it was like, this isn't an explanation. This is whatever. Like they sent out a post very much detailing what this is and what it means. I think you look at how they pictured it in that post. I think they could have done that a little better. But I think the actual there's the meaning behind all of these things, I think too.
So they hired a Taiwanese American artist to create the design. It's for the Lunar New Year. So listen, they took all the steps here. Wasn't it Braden Holtby who had like a First Nation style mask, and he didn't actually approach a First Nations artist to do it? He did after he got called out for it. But this isn't like the New Jersey Devils. I think are an organization that, like, behind the scenes, I think they've changed very much. You know, this is past the Lou days, past the Shiro days. I like, people I think are looking for a bit of a fight here. I don't think anyone is going to go out and find that sort of design right now and say, this is what we're doing. Like, you look at the past couple of years, and I think right now with the truckers convoy, and you see these people rocking Confederate flags, and you're like, oh, how is this connected to what you're thinking about here, right? I feel like maybe people were a bit sort of on the high-strung side right now.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are on edge.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
This isn't that. It's just not. And a lot of people sort of go on about the swastika because it has deeper meaning. It existed before the Nazis, right? But obviously now, and I think like different parts of the world, like in Japanese culture, they still use it, but not, you know, obviously the Nazi one is actually inverted and then it's slanted, right? But in a lot of Japanese media, they will actually use the original one, which I can't remember if it's Buddhist or whatever, right? But I feel like in the West, we're a lot more, don't go anything resembling it, don't go near it. Rightfully so when it is that style. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But this just isn't that. It's actually a very creative jersey, I think, in what they were going for. Like, you can nitpick like the NJ logo itself. Maybe you could put some trimming around it, but they
should have worn it during the game.
I saw people tweet like maybe instead what we should do, like people do, is those special jerseys like Hockey Fight Cancer Nights and that.
Yeah.
Wear them the whole game. I love that
Why
idea.
not? I don't see why not.
I agree.
Like,
Yeah.
Maybe the Hockey Fight Cancer one, it's hard to do for both teams because there would be a lot of purple.
Just do the home team, right?
Yeah, just do the home team.
Mhm.
Like, I don't see why it would be an issue. But again, that's too creative for the
Because most times, especially if it's not a designated home game, you're watching a Western Conference game, they don't always show you the warm-ups. They just show you like glimpses.
Right.
That's when their pre-show is.
Yeah.
And it's like if it's a Sportsnet one for the Leafs, it's like, we're going to talk up to this mic'd up player and you can't hear them. You can't. It's awful. But anyway. Just, you know, people just do some research before you go on Twitter saying like, oh, this is what this. No, especially because New Jersey then gave a big profile thing on it. Like,
You could have done the research on the same page that you saw the picture on.
like, just if you, it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. I got a haircut a few weeks ago. And my hairdresser he's Chinese, and like I remember him. We were talking about the Chinese New Year when I was getting my haircut, and I knew about it, but still, like, come on, guys. The Devils are not going to put that out there, and if they did, It's just so out of the. I don't even want to actually go further than that because they're not going to do that.
No, they would. If they did, it would be the biggest story in hockey.
Everyone gets fired, and the team goes to a new ownership group, move them, erase them from history.
Yeah.
Send them back and be the Colorado Rockies for all I care. If they did that, but they didn't. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. But like, did you guys also see? I think it was one of the women for Team China, their goalie, and the pads have like it's like a That's gold so cool. Eastern dragon on them.
Yes,
that was cool. By the way, Eastern dragons are so cool, and they're like the lore of them. Obviously, big weeb for Japan. Their stuff is great. I love Eastern dragons. They're so sick. Anyway,
today's episode is brought to you by Pair Networks. If you have a business, you need a website. What's the best way to get a website up and running? Choosing a website hosting service that makes it simple, like Pair Networks. Pair has over 20 years of experience managing the entire digital ecosystem for thousands of online businesses all around the world. Pair makes it easy for you with do-it-yourself website building tools and features, including simple drag and drop page design. And they have guaranteed US-based support technicians ready to help you whenever you need it. 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Right now, when you sign up with Pair Networks, you will receive 1 free month of web hosting. See for yourself how easy it is to build your website for free. Visit pair.com/free to get your first month of website hosting for free by using the code QUICKSTART. That's pair.com/free, promo code QUICKSTART, all one word, to get started today.
Where else are we going here, guys? Mason Marchment had a 6.9. You see that?
Leafs legend Mason Marchment.
So, first off, who is he traded for, Alex?
Dennis Malgin.
Dennis Malgin. Where is he?
Switzerland.
Okay.
But don't worry, he comes back, because I remember in the NHL games, he comes back and then he develops into like a solid 84. So
that is very true.
Yeah.
So, looking at Mason Marchment, it's cool. A great night. It's becoming really, really commonplace that the Panthers are scoring 8 goals a game, eh?
It is. Yeah. They're demolishing teams. Like, it's hilarious.
If they play Colorado in the finals, I think that's the odds-on favorite right now, because they are listen, we'll see what happens in the playoffs, because I think if you're doing a betting line, I still think Tampa would probably be, because they have the experience, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I still have questions about Florida's goaltending, because Bobrovsky's not good in the playoffs and Spencer Knight's not having a great year. The Panthers, though, they're such a fascinating team, because I was watching a Hockey Guy video, great channel, by the way, talking about how the Panthers acquired each player on their team. And what they've quietly done is they've looked at the market inefficiency thing. Like Verhaeghe's a great example. Gustav Forsling's another great one, too. I'm telling you, they're going to get Ben Sherratt. I'm telling you right now. And just obviously, and they had they're a really good case of building a team, because Ekblad, as we know, Huberdeau and Barkov they were from rough years there. They took advantage of the draft and they went from there. Bobrovsky's contract isn't great, but you go out, you get your goaltender, you have to pay a little more, but if you're getting quality goaltending, then it can cover up a lot of the stuff in the regular season. And it's just up and down their lineup. It's a really, really, Patrick Hornquist was another low-key good acquisition for them. And they took advantage of Pittsburgh not wanting to give, I think it was a short-term money thing they were trying to clear out. And they've got a Uyghur holding on to him.
7th round pick.
Rumors. Yeah, that's another great one. It's just, the Panthers are such a quiet, good team.
They've done, the Panthers over the last 2 years under Bill Zito have made these what look like small changes, but when you put it all together under a system that they're currently playing, it seems to work so well. They've gotten the most, I think, out of Anthony Duclair than anyone had before. Carter Verhaeghe had taken has taken multiple steps. Who am I missing? Like
Sam Bennett.
Sam Bennett. Sorry, yeah, Sam Bennett. And we've seen, look at what they brought in Sam Reinhart this summer too. Like they've just made move after move where some of them are now they're starting to make bigger ones, but the ones that really put the team together, the smaller moves have really worked out for them.
Yeah, for me, what I think when I look at these trades are you're bringing in these guys that maybe they've been miscast on their former teams. They really didn't get the ice time and they didn't really get the opportunities. And then suddenly in Florida, it's like, let's try this. Let's try to give these guys more of a role here. And it's just worked out. Like mentioned all those guys, like Carter Verhaeghe was just a fourth line guy on that cup winning team for Tampa. And then suddenly he gets hot and stays in the top six. Or Anthony Duclair, like he's finally settled in. Like after he left Ottawa, honestly, I just thought Florida was just going to be another team where let's just get him as a depth player, but he's really settled down and played his game a lot better. And then other ones too that are not even on the team right now, like Alex Wenberg was able to reinvent himself after Columbus bought him out, and they got the most out of him for that one show me year.
And Seattle overpaid him. I'm not moving off of that, by the way. Like a note about Sam Bennett, by the way, his career high in goals was 18 in Calgary, right? I think it was his it's still technically a rookie year for him because the previous season he only played one. That was his career high at the time of points, 36, 18 goals. This year in 37 games, he's up to 30 points so far, 21 goals. So he's already hit a new career high. And who knows, this was a story. How does the rest of that series against Tampa go without Sam Bennett? Obviously, I remember in one of those games, I think he took a late game penalty, maybe in game 1 or 2. That sort of I think Braden Point had converted on that power play. And then, how different do the rest of the playoffs look afterwards, right? I mean, they wouldn't have beaten Montreal, Florida. But...
So if it's 1990, if it's the finals right now, Florida and Colorado, is this 1996 all over again? Where the Panthers actually have a fun. So that was when the Avalanche won their first cup after they got Patrick Waugh, and the Panthers they were basically a team where they were just lucky to be there, and they got swept easily. But do they actually have a chance this time?
What's funny is they're a really funny team. They've got some great defense. They're both extremely deep. Getting career years from two really important players, Kadri and Huberdeau especially. Huberdeau's, we know what Huberdeau is. Kadri's a bit, I don't see Kadri having another 100-point season, but goaltending for either team is it's going to be the highest scoring finals you'd ever see. But you know what? It's not a set of stone because don't forget, Jack Eichel's not far away for Vegas. And if he gets into the equation, it's all gloves off.
Oh, I cannot wait. I don't know how they're going to do it under the cap. It's going to be magic. Sorry, but that is a team I am quite excited to see play.
He trounced Buffalo yesterday. Alex Tuck, point per game, by the way, is a saver, which is funny, but they just got, I think Eichel was at the game, obviously, but he's still a bit, I think he's practicing, but it's still no contact. I don't think he's been cleared for that yet, but that man, Jack Eichel, is going to be on a different, especially if they load him on the top line with Stone and Pacioretty. It's not going to be fun. It's not going to be fun.
I can't wait.
I can't either, and he's not in the East anymore, so you'll love to see it. You absolutely love to see it.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Looking also around the league. The World Juniors, the men's one. I don't think we've gotten an update in regards to the women's one yet, have we?
Surprise.
Yep. Hello, Mr. Tardif, doing a great job. But we do know that the men's World Juniors is most likely apparently coming for August. Player eligibility is not going to change. So what I assume is, does that mean it's going to probably be the same team? Or does that mean it's not changing as in, well, sucks, we're getting new guys?
No. That means if you are eligible to play in January, you are eligible to play in August.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, no, I think that's fair, right?
Yeah.
Cole Perfetti already turned 20 in January.
So, yeah, that's fair. So here's a question I have. Owen Power So, how long does the NCAA go for? Because obviously the expectation for him is he wants to win the world title. This one I wish we had Mike on because he would know. Is because I'm trying to wonder is depending on how deep they go, the Sabres aren't making the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Is he, and if he wins a gold medal with Canada, is he gonna get the triple gold type thing? Is he gonna get all that gold before making the NHL? Because I'm kind of rooting for that. Like it depends on how far Michigan makes it.
Yeah, it's possible.
So last year, the Frozen Four, the final was on. This is this year. Sorry. The Frozen Four, the final will be on April 9th.
Yeah, it goes by the school year.
Yeah.
So he may have to go to Buffalo just for like 9 games. Remember, I think they went early, but remember there was the same time that Hughes and Bakar came for like 10 games.
Unless he doesn't sign.
Apparently, the Sabres were saying they feel good it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But you think if they're him, they're just like, no, just go away. Because the game, the point, there's no point because the season is lost at that point.
Because it's also Matty Beniers too. He's there for the U.S. that he could do all of this before he starts his career.
But yeah, because he has a gold from World Junior last year, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Is he on the Olympic team?
He's on the Olympic team. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's not Canada, so we don't care.
Okay.
No, that's a joke. That is a good point. Wait, does he have a world championship though?
Oh, I don't know.
That's what I mean.
So.
Yeah.
But he could be on that team. I don't know. Okay.
We move on though. Yeah, no, the Olympics being done by that and all that.
Yeah, it'll be done.
The Olympics. Did you guys see that? I don't know her name, but I think she is a competitor in the skeleton. And apparently there was in that, and my mic is just not. The mic doesn't want to work.
It's okay.
You know, it's funny because if Adam and I combined our resources, we would be okay.
It'd be a one-man show.
Yes, the audio and the video, if we combine them right now.
Anyway, so in regards to COVID, apparently there is something regarding like quarantining or something in the Olympic Village. But the ambulance she was on, instead of taking her to the village, took her to a hospital. So it's completely messed up her quarantining. I think she may miss the event or something. Look it up. Rick Westhead, that's the tweeted it. Yeah.
Yes, I did see that this morning.
What a freaking shame, man. Remember when people earlier in the year were like athletes should boycott the Olympics because China and everything started going there, and it was happening with the tennis world and that.
Yeah.
I think you have to watch a video of that athlete, and you see how quickly a life's work can go down the toilet before just screaming and shouting that they shouldn't go. You know what I mean? Because we got to remember here is it's the amateur side of things. We get so selfish sometimes with the whole NHLers going to the Olympics and I'm going to watch for Usain Bolt doing 100 meter back when he competed or just this and that. But it's like, man, their whole lives are this whole lives. And then it's just gone like that because the ambulance went to the wrong place.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
It's awful. What a shame. What a shame. Arizona continued to be a shame as well when it comes to the NHL. So we've talked about the fact that they look to be going to Arizona State, possibly for games depending on this Tempe situation, right? So apparently, I believe it's in a few days, City Council are going to actually have a new vote in regards to the Arizona stuff. Now, if they don't approve it, and apparently there's some stuff to do with an airport and changing flight paths that could get in the way of all this. I believe Friedman wrote it in 32 Thoughts. Now, what the Arizona Coyotes don't want, because it would screw plans up, because obviously they're trying to get everything settled for next year, is if they decide not to vote and they kick the can down the line. We already know from other reports from Craig Morgan and that it's not quite set, the sort of opinion of those on city council in Tempe. On top of that, not Craig Morgan, by the way, which is really, really funny, but an article in The Athletic from gentleman, guess who? It's Sean Shapiro, talking about how executives around the league are basically saying how embarrassing this whole situation is. And we just talked about escrow and that a few weeks ago. I just want to read you a little snippet from this article. Not too much because go, look at reader stuff. That's 32 thoughts. Adam, get the right article up, you goofball McGundy. Okay. Within the current collective bargaining agreement, players and owners split hockey-related revenue 50-50, but because player contracts are agreed to before a season, an escrow system is in place to make sure the owners are whole on their 50%. The system rocked players during the pandemic, plummeting. Of course, we know about all this, but heading into this season, the players had $1 billion debt to pay. Escrow this season was set to 17.2%. That's taken out of their salaries. That means a 1 million salary is actually worth $828,000 after escrow until the debt is paid back. Estimated on the timeline range from 3 to 5 years, depending on whom you ask. The salary cap can only raise $1 million per season, which is effectively a modified flat cap. A large historical driver of hockey-related revenue has been in-person purchases, tickets, food, and beverages, and merchandise, all that kind of stuff. A sellout at ASU's arena, that being Arizona State University, would amount to a far smaller crowd than Arizona's current 11,575 reported average attendance in Glendale, and would be the new low watermark for the league. Currently, the Buffalo Sabres are averaging a league low of 8,626 fans.
That will change, though. That Buffalo number will change.
Oh yeah, 100%
in a few years.
This even the start of this year, I think, kind of gave them a bit of zest. But Owen Power comes in, things are going to change there. Yeah. And it's Buffalo, right? They're gonna. That's a good fan base. They just need a bit of hope. During the 1920 season, before the NHL felt the effect of COVID, the Coyotes averaged 14,605 fans. The league low average for that campaign was 12,618 in Ottawa.
That won't change.
Yeah. No, it will not. We sold out 500, guys. That was embarrassing.
Oh my gosh.
Now, assuming sellouts, attendance on Arizona State's campus would be more similar to what's seen in the AHL. The AHL is averaging 4,214 fans per game this season, ranging from the Hershey Bears at 1,700 to the Stockton Heat at 1,345. Now, there's some more in there about how executives might be saying that, it won't put them in a much worse spot. But here, besides executives there, if I'm a player and I read that, how pissed off I am? I didn't get to go to the Olympics. I agreed to this new CBA. I'm losing my salary. Think of it like this. I have to give up more of my salary because the team Gary Bettman has been so faithful to for all these years. Completely out of my control. Sidney Crosby should go to Arizona. Sorry, could go to Arizona. They ain't selling out. Imagine how pissed off you'd be as a player. That Gary Bettman, being so faithful to the Coyotes, is costing you hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's $1 million contract. So even more if you're a player making north of 11.
Yeah. I just did some quick math here.
Ooh,
just some quick math. I think Friedman in his latest 32 thoughts did confirm that 3,200 number we were talking about last episode. Mm-hmm. So assuming that they charge $100 per ticket, which they can't, because I'm not sure who's paying to $100 to go see the Arizona Coyotes.
If they give me a jersey, I'll do it. I remember the Panthers used to do that.
Okay, so now that's even more money out of their pocket.
Jerseys more expensive than that. What?
Yeah, jerseys are like double that price.
So what happened that's
expensive.
Sorry, okay, just one random thing.
Yeah,
for the Panthers, I remember when they were really bad. If you bought like a family pack, like you'll get one jersey, but then you also get tickets, I think, to Universal Studios along with your ticket pack. Plus, like you get food as well. And then I think it amounted to maybe like $75 per person, but that's for like 4 games.
Oh my God.
Can the Leafs get bad enough where if we buy Leafs tickets, we can get packages to Canada's Wonderland, please?
I'm pretty sure their sellout streak ended in 15-16, but they were selling. They had plenty of people in that stadium.
Oh yeah, I remember.
There was no. Oh, here's a jersey.
I remember 2014. Like they were just calling them the Toronto Marlies that entire time. Yeah. I remember that, and like they were still like it was packed.
Yeah, it's crazy. So
off my joke, guys. How could you?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no.
I want to go doing that again. It's been years. Anyway,
we'll go.
I have, so it's about $320,000 per game. That's how much they'd make. That's not without, that's with obviously without food, and ad board advertisements, which they can only do board advertisements. In a season, they play 41 home games, $13,120,000. That's how much they would make per year just on tickets alone. I believe Friedman, I don't remember who it was, but someone reported that Toronto and Montreal make about 3 million USD per game.
Toronto's 3.5, Montreal's around 2.8.
Oh, okay.
And those are
USD.
Think of it like this, right? The Leafs and Habs not having home games for about 2 months may kill the salary cap growth next year, right? And the Coyotes are going to make how much total if they sell out everything? We're estimating.
This is just a pure estimate. This would not even be close. $13 million
for a year, and those are
for 3 years though.
For a game.
So that number is right because they're staying there for a few years as they're building this imaginary stadium they keep talking about. That they would make $13 million a year for 3 or 4 years.
Oh my
That's
goodness.
devastating.
A good thing you said there was the merchandise and everything. And I just wanted to just confirm with us how much a Kachina jersey would be, because I'm still willing to buy one.
Yeah.
And for some reason, it's more expensive than every other jersey. Like a blank, authentic Kachina jersey is $280.
Oh my god!
The retro reverses were $300.
Yeah,
$280. Man, and like I love how you're gonna sell that, ladies and gentlemen. Here we have Louis Air. No, he's a free agent. Antoine, he's a free agent. He'll be gone. Jacob Chick, he's gone. Clayton Keller that's it.
The default answer. Or Nick Schmaltz. Apparently he's lighting it up a bit recently.
So yeah, great. Nick Schmaltz. So, curiosity. So the drinking age in the States is 21, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, right. And you normally, depending on when you get into university, probably around 18.
Mm-hmm.
So because most of the people going to those games are going to be students, and students were poor because the government, that's in the States. Maybe they don't hate as much there as the government does in Ontario. But half of them, the demographic around you isn't old enough to buy beer, which is the selling point at games. That's why owners hate afternoon games, so they can't sell as much beer. Like they're so screwed. You think students are going to be behind on their tuition, much less being able to pay for a Coyotes jersey? This sucks.
This is brutal, and in every sense of the matter. I'm no business expert, but if I was, I would have to say that this is not good business. And if I were on Shark Tank, I would say I'm out.
Man, this is the type of thing where Kevin O'Leary would wait to go just so he can rip it apart at the end. My goodness, even board games. My goodness, great.
Alex, you could get your Riley Nash Kachina jersey right now.
I don't want my Riley Nash Kachina jersey.
When did Riley Nash end up in Arizona?
I forgot Anton Strawman.
Did he get claimed? Did Arizona claim Riley Nash?
I think so.
Oh my!
So if you're moving to the Arizona, so if you're a student at ASU,
yeah,
right. I'd love to know what their attendance is like, by the way. So if you're a student at ASU, and let's say the Coyotes are going to be there for the next 3 to 4 years, so you want someone who has a jersey of someone who's going to be around for at least 3 years, to be safe, right? And let's just say Jacob Chickering is gone.
I was going to say.
The only roster players who have a minimum 4 years left starting next year, there are 2 players. Do you know who they are?
I know one is Clayton Keller.
Yep.
I think I know the second one.
Nick Schmaltz?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you wanted to be safe right now, because I doubt the Coyotes are going to be spending, are going to be getting much more than 3-year deals in the offseason. If you want to be safe, you have to get a Nick Schmaltz jersey. A Nick Schmaltz jersey.
I think Barrett Hayden's going to hold out.
Or maybe, he's gone. Or maybe even, because especially apparently they haven't liked how they've handled him. That's not a good sign. Or maybe, we'll see how long they re-up Vejmelka for. Man, even their injured reservists. They got a few players. Fun fact, the cap hit of retained salary on OEL lasts longer than most players on the Arizona Coyotes.
Okay, so if you're an ASU student looking to buy an Arizona Coyotes jersey, which I don't know why you would buy an ASU jersey, you should be buying an Oliver Ekman-Larsson jersey because he will still be on the cap.
Just put his number in dollar signs up.
Yeah,
What the percentage they have retained?
Yeah, the number.
Goodness.
Yeah, exactly.
What a joke. I was listening to First Take. I was listening to this. It was an interview with Magic Johnson after he left the organization. Daniel, you would, or either you may know this. Did they win that title with LeBron and AD after Magic left?
I don't remember.
I think
Let me
so.
check. Yeah, I think so. It was like the year after.
Okay,
I can double check. What year did Magic Johnson leave?
I have no idea. I was just curious. It's from the interviews. Anyway,
I think so because they won in 2020.
Okay.
And I believe he was gone before the bubble. I feel like he was gone
He
before
was
COVID.
placed as that sports agent guy that used to be Kobe's sport agent.
Was like, he stabbed me in the back, but he's still like, I love the Lakers because you're a Laker. And they were talking about joking about how much the Lakers would go for. And billions of dollars. And then you got the NHL where we're playing. We need to sell gate and beer to university students.
This literally happened in the NBA. The Sonics couldn't update the Key Arena fast enough.
And what happened?
Until I think Howard Schultz just sold them to OKC.
Okay, so they moved.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, fair, and there you go.
But Daniel said something there. They sold them. This is how many owners have Arizona gone through?
Well, that's the thing. It's not about owners. Remember, it's about places to. If Tempe say no, they have to move. They have to. No one else is going to have them.
No, zero. No one's going to have them. Not because it's not desirable to have them in the market. I think having a sports team in the market is desirable for a city because you can bring in new people. But the shenanigans, time and time again, that the multiple ownership groups have pulled is incredible. And the NHL sitting there like, yep, I guess this is our team, and we're gonna have their back. Like, no, Gary, Bill, this is over. Call it a day. I
look at the perspective of being, a customer for this team, being a fan for this team in terms of spending money for them, where, I look at you guys and you guys are diehard fans no matter what, through a rebuild, through what's going on. But if I'm just a casual fan and I'm look how many things have happened since the bubble with this team alone. Why would I support this team?
It's bad. Let me just read you this bit in 32 Thoughts. It refers to what I mentioned earlier. Regarding Arizona, there are two big meetings upcoming. The first is Wednesday to address how that being tomorrow, I would assume, to address how the Coyotes' potential new arena could affect operations at Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport. For example, one of the issues is flight path impact. The second is Tempe City Council scheduled for February 10th. Do they approve the arena plan? If so, and I'm getting mixed messages, then the Coyotes will try and close the deal to play at Arizona State until the new arena will be ready. While the arena is supposed to see 5,000, that will drop if the Coyotes play there, with some estimates as low as 3,200. That's due to things like media and infrastructure changes. Also, the student section seat, there are supposed to be benches. I don't think you can sell that at the NHL level. The league and NHLPA are discussing the matter. I'm not sure if the Players Association can block such a move, but there's wide recognition players aren't happy. One said, this isn't the OHL. And another wondered if a top draft pick would ever bulk at starting their careers in such situations. Last information I could get from December, the Coyotes were 31st in annual net revenue per game, approximately $500,000 with some spare change, down 8% from last season. Buffalo was last. In theory, the Coyotes could raise prices, but is there enough demand for that to work? One thing about Commissioner Gary Bettman, he generally keeps his owners in line, but make no mistake, the owners who pay revenue sharing in the pool won't like this and won't want to support it. Arizona. Well, gentlemen.
So embarrassing.
I love that. The seating or benches. Like, listen, if you've ever been to, again, stepfather of mine used to coach hockey. I remember being at rinks like the Powerade Center here in Southern Ontario and sitting on those just benches for seats. Little things like that are freaking hilarious to think of. Not to mention the time it's going to take for those renovations. They have to start now because it's going to take time. Anyway, we're going too fast. The Leafs.
What about
just
them?
had a home and what?
Yeah, what about them?
I like to say success on both ends. They came back in game 1 against New Jersey, and then they didn't let up in game 2. So I think it was success.
So here's what the thing with the first off, you know what's a great way to start the week with hockey? A home and home, the Leafs, okay, and the Devils. Who decided that? I was just thinking about that, and I looked yesterday. I'm like, who the Leafs are playing against New Jersey? Am I looking at the wrong day? Why?
I know it caught me off guard too. I have to double check. I believe that was one of the reschedulings.
That's fair.
Because I don't know why on earth they would do a home and home with New Jersey of all teams. I think last year they did it with no, not last year. 2 years ago.
Last year they did it with
everybody. No. 2 years ago, I believe they did one with Detroit. It wasn't back to back. There was a day in between, but like Detroit, I understand there's some type of history, I guess, backing that. But those were two interesting games. Like I don't know. Again, like it's hard. I want to start with it's hard to take games in December or in January or it's February now. Sorry, quite seriously, because it's like. Again, with this team, the only thing that matters is the playoffs. But what I will say, Daniel, you're right. Like that was two completely different nights. And I think for both teams, on night 1, I thought the Devils played quite well until they didn't.
Meltdown.
Until it kind of fell apart. But I think, and last night, I don't know, the Devils did not look like the Devils last night.
Our heart goes out to John Gillies.
I mean, the Devils are kind of bad this year.
Yes, they are.
And it doesn't help that it looks like Blackwood's. They're getting another opinion on one of his injuries. Apparently, it's rough there. But listen. You want good teams to come back against not good teams, and I think that's exactly what you needed from Toronto. Yeah. And then I was kind of wondering once I realized they were doing a home and home with the Devils. I'm like, how are they going to respond in the second game? And oh boy, did they respond?
Yeah,
they very much did. They did not hold back. Which, like, again, I don't feel too bad for. Like, I don't feel bad about. I don't know if I should, but it's just I can't feel bad about teams being demolished. If it was the opposite way around, no one would feel bad. I promise.
Did you feel bad for the players when they lost to Montreal?
For the Leaf players.
Yeah. Did you feel bad for them?
I felt bad for John.
Yeah, no, I did feel bad, but for my own team, I'm saying I don't feel bad for New Jersey. Like if it was the opposite way around and Toronto got smacked 7-1, no one would be feeling bad for the Leafs. I promise you that.
How good today's show would have been if the Leafs had lost 7-1 to New Jersey.
It already happened once this year. It already happened once this year, Adam. They lost 7-1 to Pittsburgh.
The last first line center, Evan Rodriguez.
Yes. That was the game when Pittsburgh had absolutely no one.
Their first line was like Kapanen and Rodriguez.
But guys, we have the SLC. No, we have the We have the Ven back. Remember that? That was around the same time.
Oh yeah. Those were the days.
I love our university.
Those were the days.
Want to talk about Marner?
Yeah, man. Do you want to talk about Marner?
I mean, listen, let me just check some of the notes that Alex texted us. So, he's on a 7-game goal streak, apparently.
Yeah. 4
even strength, 3 on the power play. That was quiet, wasn't it? And 1 shorthanded goal, which makes sense because he's a valuable penalty killer, right?
Yeah.
He's fine. I mean, I told you, he's just not William Nylander.
He's not William Nylander. I believe William Nylander was -1 last night.
Oh.
I don't know how.
And
Alex, 7-1 win?
Yeah.
I mean,
let me double check.
He was moving over for Mitch.
Again, Alex. Mitch Marner's not on the All-Star team.
Listen,
I can live with that.
Tom Wilson's on the All-Star team.
Okay, that I don't know if I can live with that. That I cannot live with. I don't know if you want to talk about that eventually.
What does he compete in?
The hardest hit.
I thought you were legitimately hardest shot. I'm like, I don't know if he has a hard shot.
Hardest hit. They should make a competition.
He's the
for
first
him.
player to get a penalty in the All-Star game.
Oh, for sure.
Well, remember when it was a big deal when John Scott hit Patrick Kane? He's like, oh my. So here's what's no, there's been penalties before. Haven't
there have been, yes, like yes, I remember. Yeah, you're right. When I remember like a Ginla by accident got like a hooking penalty.
Who the frick's the ref there? And I want to say, oh no, it was Macaulay was joking that if he had called a penalty on Marshall a couple of years ago. Yeah. But no, I just listen. Marner can undress the whole team. My highlight is him throwing the puck over the glass in Game 5.
No, not Game 5. Game 7. He did it in Game 7, did he not?
Was it Game 7
or Game 6? No,
it wasn't Game 5. It wasn't Game 5. It was Game 6 or 7, I think.
Oh, was it 6? Was I at the game?
Let's go back to the footage.
I think so.
I think you were.
Foley went on. Yeah, that was a great game. What the fuck? I miss the team being good.
The entire second line last night was -1. Kerfoot, Tavares, and Nylander.
Yeah, trade them. Speaking of trading.
Yes.
Not Mrazek. We talked about that last episode.
That is so. I still don't understand, but that's okay.
So Jack Campbell's becoming human now because regression is such a thing. But Alex has on the notes here that we should overreact, and he puts hashtag.
I did not put that. I did not put that. I did not put that. I don't think it was Daniel either, but.
Well, I didn't Mike had access to it.
No, I think this was expected. I think we had the discussion about Campbell multiple times on this podcast. Like, I don't think he's an elite goaltender. Like he has
hold on.
No, he has elite performances, but he over a full season, I don't think he can play 60 games up to that level the way that other elite goaltenders can. I don't think that's being unrealistic. I think he can put up extremely good numbers.
You like to know his career save percentage versus the Carolina Hurricanes?
Sure.
Isn't it not that many? Because we used the Western Conference for a while.
Yeah, so I want to look at what his stats are lately. And so ESPN have this thing of Hockey DB wasn't the first, second option, which is dumb. So I clicked on ESPN because obviously they have next game and they have here his goals against, his record, and his save percentage versus the Hurricanes. I think that's really nifty. NHL.com, could you do that? He has a .914 save percentage. They have it at 91.429.
At how many games?
One. His save percentage was his goals against was 3.12.
Oh,
okay. Yeah. Was he really on the Leafs? Yeah, that was the Leafs. That was early in the season, right?
I don't know.
Or was he on LA?
I couldn't tell you, but it's
either way. Jack Campbell. It's just this was expected.
He's still at 925.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. He is a hell of a goaltender. He has saved this team countless times. But to say he was going to be, what was he at? Like a 935, 940?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's unrealistic to say he was going to be that the entire season, whether he was rested or not.
He's good. Like I agree. I think he's a good goalie, but it's just, I don't know. It's weird with him sometimes because like the sample for his career at where he's with his age, it's just not the same when you talk about other guys that put up these, above .914 save percentages. And for me, I think, good goalie, but not top tier.
So I think currently there's a tier of
Alex, you disagree with me?
Vasilevsky and Shesterkin. Hellebuck's not been great this year. And then it's those two. And then everyone else. Mm-hmm. And then above all that is Carey Price, obviously. But no, he's a good goalie. I think he's still
Absolutely.
top 10.
Absolutely.
I don't want to go into the semantics of top 5 because I don't want to take us 20 minutes putting that list together.
It'll be a night.
And we're gonna start saying like older guys, and then no one's gonna have a fun time.
It'll be a night.
We're gonna get a shouting match of Vasilevsky versus Price, and I won't back down. But man, it is what's so annoying is I've just realized tomorrow's the last game and before the All-Star break. So Sunday, all we have to talk about It's going to be the damn All-Star game.
Will there be 32 thought headlines?
I hope so.
Might have Olympic updates on lineups, on like expected lines.
Maybe. We'll see.
Daniel, I don't want to wake up at 4 a.m. to watch a game.
Maybe we'll do something fun. We have a new segment.
So,
Maybe we'll create some like fun content. Maybe there'll be other stuff.
No, we have to watch the All-Star. I hate to do this, guy, but we have to watch. Well, the All-Star game is on the Sunday, so we don't need to watch that, thankfully, because I don't care about the game. But skills competition.
Yes, we will watch.
I have a funny thing. So what happened was, you remember when we were coming up with such random content when there were no games at all?
Yes,
I remember Bar Down, they had an episode where they just went on eBay and bought a bunch of stuff, like hockey-related stuff, and that was a segment.
How much is our budget from our ads, Alec? How much are we at? Can we afford all three of us to get a meal at Kelsey's? Probably not.
Maybe. I don't know.
You think it's a no? By the way, after mentioning, this is from 32 Thoughts, I wanted to mention before getting off the Leafs. Thought number 4, after mentioning Toronto's interest on Josh Manson, one executive joked, the Leafs have been interested in him since Punch Imlach was GM.
Yeah.
Anaheim will have many options here, including keeping him. I thought that was just
yeah, no, that's because this has to be like the second or third GM has been interested in Josh Manson.
What the joke is, I'm interested in Sidney Crosby. Everyone's interested in good players.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh God, you Leafs fans on Twitter. I really like Josh Manson. Same.
If he was left-handed, would he have had this much hype?
No.
All right-handed defensemen get like this extra like 5%.
That's
Except the Olympic team under Mike Babcock, because the left-right balance.
Then they get an extra 100% because they have to be right-handed.
100% in the press box. How are you thinking? Ridiculous. Norris Trophy winner. No respect. No respect. Okay, Montreal. I stand by what I said about Jeff Petry last episode. I still think he's a soft player. I still think he needs to go. Let me just make something very clear, though, because he is. Let me make one thing clear. And I hate I have to do this. Because people were bullying his wife on Twitter. And I don't know if it's Twitter. I think it was some social media platform. Don't do that. Just because, there's obviously something like the family have referenced mental health as to why they've moved to the States because Canada's restrictions are awful, especially in Montreal. Let's just make something clear. Like, I hate that I have to say this, but if I'm criticizing Jeff Petry, nothing to do with his family, like some people are doing. Okay? I still think Jeff Petry has run his course. And listen, I told you guys I was done with Kotkaniemi the moment he signed the offer sheet. I still don't accept. I know people talked about if fans were in the stands, none of them should have fought Cassian. I didn't exactly say he should have fought Cassian. I said, if somebody goes after your goal, I want you to get so into them, you smell what they had for breakfast, right?
Yes.
I still think the guy needs to be gone. Interesting enough, it's come out, coincidentally, that Jeff Petry has not requested a trade. However, he is open to the idea of moving. And it really sounds like all of a sudden that if he's getting moved, well, he's going to get moved, basically. It's probably more going to be an off-season. Apparently, executives have told different reporters that apparently there is still a lot of value to Jeff Petry, which is interesting. That's good for Montreal, obviously, because he's an older guy contract. They're willing to trade him, but not at a discount, so that's probably why you can think it's later on in they're going to wait to get what they want. And a potential suitor could be the Dallas Stars.
Of course.
Because they've obviously lost. They're going to lose John Klingberg. They're going to trade him. And talking about suitors, he is the opposite of Ryan Suter. He can skate offensive and all that, but they're both really old.
When LeBron was talking about that on Insider Trading, I'm like, that is the most Dallas move ever.
So you know how it's like Pietrangelo was replaced with Falk and like basically Krug, right? So they're replacing Klingberg with Petry, who's a good offensive defenseman. I don't think he's as good as Klingberg, especially on the power play. My goodness, at least when Klingberg shoots, he's actually for the benefit of the play because he knows Joe Pavelski's in front to deflect it.
Yeah.
But so we're replacing Klingberg with a combination of Suter, Petry, and Hakanpää. Yep. Just a little weird. And Petry's 34. Why? Yep. What are you doing there? What's the thinking there, Dallas? Like, do it. I don't know. I don't know enough about their prospect pool to know what you would get, but man,
like Ty Dellandrea, something I don't know.
sure.
Or,
obviously, we joke about right-handed defensemen. Jeff Petry is a guy who can skate. He's not going to score 1 goal next year, obviously, right? He's still a good player, but being right-handed, there's always value there, right?
It just, for me, again, it's like when we talk about the Flyers, like I don't know, Dallas, if you do this, like they're perpetually staying at like a 7.
7?
I was gonna say like 7th in the Western Conference, or like
okay, yeah. I mean, like okay, so like for me, like cup contenders, like the ones that are built to be cup contenders, like they're a 10 out of 10. But like I think like the Stars, like they're gonna make the playoffs, but they're just, or they might not, but they're just one of those teams where it's always middle of the pack.
So they're the new Minnesota.
Yeah,
I was gonna compare them to Nashville actually.
They're good this year.
For me, I think I know they're good this year, but like for the last few years, they've just been trying to stay competitive, and this year it's somehow it's worked.
And it's not the high price guys like Jamie Benn, Tyler Seguin. They're both not the X factor anymore there.
The wild card race is quite insane when you actually look in the West. Colorado have first, we know that. Minnesota have 6 games in hand. They're 3 points behind Nashville. And then you sort of separation for the Central. First wild card is St. Louis, 57 points with 2 games in hand on Nashville, 3 points ahead of them, so they should pass them. Oh boy, I was about to say, what happened to Calgary? They're 3 points behind the Kings, 5 games in hand. Dallas are, for the sake we're comparing them to St. Louis, they're 9 points behind with a game behind them. But Calgary 2 games in hand over Dallas. Dallas are behind them by 2 points. But then of course, like depending on how that falls out, they're either going to be battling Calgary, St. Louis, Nashville, or Minnesota. And I don't think they're as good as any of those teams. They have an outside shot of making it. Plus their goal differential. Look at some of these teams. And obviously LA could fall out, is going to be in that race too, depending on what happens with Calgary in the Pacific. Of all those teams that I just mentioned, the only one with a minus goal differential is Dallas. Not to mention, if you also look at the Stars, would you like to know who is a point behind them with 2 games in hand?
Okay.
Edmonton. So
the good old Oilers.
If they're doing the move, if Dallas want to really if they want to add to their lineup, if they want to replace John Klingberg right away, here's what doesn't make sense. Because if they want to do it right away, they're paying extra for Jeff Petry, right? Because if Montreal don't feel the need to move him. So it won't be a panic move, but it could be a move that's going to cost you a lot more when you are very much not guaranteed, unless they're smart and realize, okay, maybe we sell off some pieces, get Petry, and then we reset for next year. I still wouldn't what I would do because I don't think the Stars are very good. But
the thing with the Stars, and I don't know if you guys would agree with me on this, but for some reason, when I look at the Stars, I say, okay, they probably won't make the playoffs, but if they do make the playoffs, they might be able to do some damage.
I don't know, man. Seguin is just I got a vendetta. You know why they're not going to do anything?
Why is that?
Because they don't have Corey Perry anymore, man.
No, I love that.
If they make it, yeah. So here's the benefit: do you go to a matchup where you end up facing Vegas or Colorado in the first round, or be smart, sell off Holtby, Pavelski, and Klingberg, and have a bit of a reset? If you got to be smart there, you know what I mean. I really don't think this is the thing. You make a comparison to the Montreal Canadiens areas. Remember a couple of years ago when they could have sold off Tatar and Tatar and Petry when they had the extra year on their contracts.
Yeah,
they didn't do it. They go to the Cup final. Great memories for the fans and doobity. Right, and kind of similar things to Montreal and the style of play and all that. But look what's happened to Montreal since. Not Petry. The Stars should be smart about this And the smarter thing is not Philly and try and throw money at the problem. We know they don't want to spend money because what's happening with John Klingberg, as we know.
Right.
I would rather be smart and sell off at the deadline and maybe take a year or two here.
No, I 100% agree. I think if you do that, you come out even stronger than, and not like you're very strong now per se, but you come out stronger, especially there in their division. They could, like, who knows what's going to happen over the next few years. Like, okay, Colorado's quite set in that division, right? In terms of being number one, like for the next years. But Nashville, how many years is this going to keep going? Minnesota are about to be cap strapped for the next 3 years. St. Louis,
They go either way.
like
They're so strange.
they're very weird. Like it's just, you don't know. And then you go Winnipeg, Chicago, Arizona.
One's going to be bad for a long time. The other, who knows what they're doing, being Chicago. Who was the other team?
Winnipeg.
Who are in free fall.
Oh my. So I think you're right. Like I think the smart approach would be to take the next 2 years, reset a little bit, and come back and kind of take spot of one of those 3 divisional spots.
Because the cupboards are, I think of Thomas Harley and Ty Dellandrea, and then, Jason Robertson's already on the main roster. So, Jake Ottinger's still there, I guess. But it wouldn't hurt to add more assets here and there just to deal with these guys that are probably not going to come back. And if they do come back, they're not going to be the same type of guys that they are right now on the team. Like Joe Pavelski, you could trade that. You could trade him.
If they don't pick up Giroux, Colorado, I could see. Like I think Merrick mentioned this a few times. Pavelski could end up there, right? Like any team would love to have that guy on the power play for a deep run. Would love to see it.
For sure.
To finish off the show.
Yes.
First off, did you guys see that Michael McNiven's was put on IR?
I did.
Oh, man, I feel sorry for that guy. His only opportunity, and this happens.
Forget about the NHL. I haven't looked at this. Who the heck is playing goalie for the Rocket right now? Like who? And
Probably their ECHL guys. No,
I don't know who else they have. And even if it's the guys from the ECHL, who's playing for Trois Rivières right now? Who?
I've never seen this before on the Cap Friendly page. If you scroll down, there's just no goalie.
The closest we came to that was in Buffalo, where it was like, "Oh goodness gracious, what's happening here?" And then Craig Anderson came back, and then maybe he was in net against Vegas.
I have a funny joke with this. So when I used to play NHL, like the older ones, like 2000 and 2003, they made a joke about this on Bar Down, but I think they just got kind of lazy with the rosters for goalies that played a lot of games, like at the time Patrick Roy, Martin Brodeur, for example. Their backup goalie just said G backup.
Man, here's the thing. Can you name 3 of Martin Brodeur's backups? I couldn't.
I can't. Wait, do you want me or no?
You actually.
If there's anyone,
ask Alex this, not the that is Daniel.
I was gonna say
I could name 3 Patrick Roy backups too.
Go ahead.
Mark Denis.
Oh yeah.
He was drafted by Colorado. David Abisher. Yeah, remember him? He got traded for Jose Theodore.
No.
No.
Who's the third guy? We need to finish.
Oh wait. Do I actually know 3 or do I only know 2?
Oh, there it is.
Oh no. Anyway. Okay, I only know 2.
Mark Denis. The only reason I know is Mark Denis because play-by-play. He was on the
Blue
radio.
Jackets legend.
Mark.
He was like their first goalie.
To finish off the show, Carey Price spoke to the media for the first time since losing in the Cup final. Never forget. A few takeaways from that. First off, a little thing. Am I the only one who came away from that thinking he was playing hurt in the finals, by the way? Because he had that line. They asked him about Weber. I think it was the last question. We're going to get to the thing about his knee in a second because that's the big takeaway here. They asked him about the Shea Weber thing, and he's like, I had an idea it was going to be, that was it for him. And he's like, and I knew I was getting surgery in the off season. So I think he was hurt. which makes sense because in the finals, he just wasn't as good as he was for the rest of the playoffs. I kind of thought, I'm like, wait a minute. That explains a lot.
I wouldn't be surprised. Most guys, especially nowadays, like who doesn't come out of the playoffs with an injury?
I mean, Petry has not recovered. Jeff Petry is still, I think Gallagher probably still has wrist issues. Byron, remember, didn't play until the other day.
Yeah.
He finally got back. Edmondson is still MIA.
Yeah.
So it's the thing. Anyway, so the big takeaways from Carey Price's press conference. What did you guys think first off? Alex, we'll start with you.
I thought it was good that he came out and spoke, considering it's been months since we really heard from him, which was the right thing to do from every standpoint, especially considering him entering the program, and what's the point of him talking to the media? There's clearly some fire there that he wants to play.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of wait and see at this point. Like, I have my opinions on if the Canadians should play him this season or not. I don't think they should. But I think it would be a really good story for the team, because it hasn't been, as you can attest, it has not been a season of good stories for the Montreal Canadiens. But overall, I think it was a huge boost to hear him talk, because he has been the franchise for many years now.
For me, I think there's a good level of honesty there, where we talked about no matter what was going to happen in terms of the questions, that people are going to be respectful about it, and everybody was. And the fact that he talked about Shea Weber, he talked about his feelings about how things are going and everything, his own injuries, what he had to do when he thought he had to have surgery. I think that's great that he's been able to talk about this. And I like that he still has that fire, Alex said, that he still wants to play. Like, I don't know what that's going to look like for me. I think that's going to be 1 or 2, 3 games, maybe later in the season, where it's just, you give fans a glimpse of hope. And I think that's what I get from it, is that it's a glimpse of hope of, see, this guy still wants to be on the team. This guy is still going to support you 100%, even when he's not there. And it kind of goes with what Montreal's trying to do now, where it's like, yeah, we have all these changes going on, but yeah, don't forget who the, iconic figures are still here. That's still part of the identity. So,
as you guys know, I've been very open about the fact of, like, if you need to trade Carey Price for him to go and win, you do it. Right, obviously. First off, my favorite player of all time. Love him. Great guy. I came away, I thought it was a somber press conference, because obviously he mentioned he needed help and why he went to the Players Assistance Program. He talked about, he was asked trade future, and he said, I don't have any plans to waive my no-move clause. That's why I signed my deal with a no-move clause. Listen, I was talking to Laura and Will about this. Here's the thing: a lot of people. What do I always say is important perspective? A lot of people saying, should Carey Price play? Why bring him into this mess? And I've even joked on Twitter, don't come back to this mess, Carey. You look great for a cowboy hat, don't do it. What has Carey Price been known for years now? You think back to, I think it was the 16-17 or 15-16 when he hurt his knee and was out the whole year, came back from it. And that first, I think it was the 16-17 year, he was great. I want to say, or it was even, he came back the year after and was a Vezina finalist. It's Carey Price. He comes back. Everyone thought he was down and out this, like, last year. Especially how bad it was for him when Claude Julien left. Comes back, had that one conditioning stint with the Rock, and everyone's like, he's toast. And then he puts in that playoffs. I think what people need to remember before saying Carey Price shouldn't come back is what Carey Price wants. And what Carey Price needs, and what he's fed off his entire career, is coming back from injury. And what's really important here that people need to remember, I mentioned that injury that he was gone the whole of the year. I think it was Montreal started the year like 10 games without losing in regulation. Then I think it was like Al Montoya was in the game against Columbus. They lost 10-0. They wouldn't put Price in because they were playing the next night against Philadelphia. Anyway, that year, Price was out the whole time. He came back for one game against the Rangers. He stepped on the puck and he was out again. There was setback and there was no communication. What's happening with Carey Price? There was setback. And what's happening this year was knee again. It's setback. And I think that's always been the thing in the back of his mind, that he didn't want to go through that again. And what's real frustrating, and apparently he's staying now, I shouldn't say he doesn't want to go through that again and all that, because he's trying to rehab now. He keeps trying to come back. I think it's important for Carey Price mentally, for his pride as an athlete, that he comes back and plays this year. That's when people are like, should he play? No, you're missing it. Price to him needs to play. It's nothing to do with if he can play and you trade him or anything. And I'm not going to lie, after seeing him here, I was like, I can't swear. I'm like, no. You keep this damn man and you let him retire on this team. Unless he wants to leave, then it's fine, because he freaking deserves it. Why should he play this year? Because he freaking wants to. And if he's healthy, he can do it. And you know what? So far, we don't know what's going on, because he was, the dogs are being loud if you can hear that. But what we know is he's anxious about the knee. There's like a thing right now that people are scared he may never play again. Like, that was a big takeaway for me from that press conference.
Right. We
don't know what it's going to be like. Apparently, the next few weeks are pretty important. That's the big thing, is they're hoping, I think they're swelling in the knee or anything. But the reason I say the press conference was somber is I didn't come out of it like, oh, it's great, he wanted to get help. He mentioned that, if people would be inspired by like him, getting help, he said it was in the back of my mind when I did it. But like, there's this thought, he may never play again. And another thing you should root for him to come back if he plays this year or even next year is you should fight and cheer for Carey Price to come back, because it's another chapter in that man's career. He said being a Canadiens goaltender has been his identity for years, and with his identity is coming back from injury and proving everyone freaking wrong about how good he really is. A little personal there, a little mad about people disrespecting Carey Price. Didn't help that Lundqvist just retired, and the similarities in their career are so similar. But Carey Price needs to come back to prove people wrong about him. Let him go out on his freaking terms. And if he needs to play to get closure, you let him come back and freaking play.
Are people suggesting he shouldn't play at all? Is that what? Because I've personally only seen the camp that he shouldn't come back this year. Let him take the entire summer off, take the entire summer, the entire regular season, and come back opening night with a full crowd, hopefully, depending on who the premier of the province is by that time, in October, assuming that's when the season starts. Because
no one's saying like gone forever. I just mean the whole thing of Price's perspective of coming back, so it's not like that initial injury all those years ago.
Right.
It's just what I'm saying, yeah.
Sure, if he's healthy, come back.
Yeah.
Like I don't like, it's a great story for the team. Like not just story. It's not a great story. It is, but I think it's a huge boost for everyone in that room. Every single person.
I will say this: if you can't get him for a full arena, then maybe hold off. But if Mr. Melson, call up the Premier and say, listen, just one game. Can you just remember when it was, it may have been the finals when it was like, you're allowed to have 7,500 people in, and the Bell Center definitely had more than 75 people. Like, if he comes back this season, maybe invite some more people, because he's going to get a big reaction, no matter how bad the team are.
We'll see how the restrictions are. Maybe in a month. If he's playing this year, it probably won't be, anytime soon. And hopefully by then, they're going to be at full strength again. Because listen, at least you can hope that when they get back, like everyone, Edmondson and everything, they're not going to be good. We know that, but you can at least be competent and not then sort of risk Price coming back and overworking himself. Like, that's a different story, but you can hope at least him coming back on the ice with some of the boys around back together whenever Allen and Savard are back too, and Dvorak and all that type of stuff. Shout out player safety for not giving Jared Spurgeon anything, you cowards. But yeah. Anything else? No, good.
No.
Okay. I was going to go have a bath, but I hear my mom's running one, so she's clearly stolen it. Thank you, Mom. I listen back to the podcast. I appreciate that. My head hurts. Okay, that's everything. Next time we see everyone, we talk about the skills competition.
Yeah.
Fastest skater and whatnot. That will be fun. Voice had great platform as always. Thank you for listening. Check us out on wherever you listen to your podcast, especially on YouTube, where you can see the video version of this podcast. It's Daniel Suffer CJRU, Alex's blog and Twitter feed, my YouTube channel. What else, guys?
Get ready. Guelph Nighthawk stuff coming.
Hey, I'm excited.
Guelph Nighthawks.
Yeah.
Love to see it. Alex, the podcast guy. Content. What else? Legends Arceus. Go play it, guys. Check out our own personal social medias and all that. Check out the show's TikTok. We love the TikTok. TikTok's great.
Love it.
And that's everything. Goodbye.
Bye.